Main event this Saturday in Newark. So it's a busy weekend in the world of MMA. Bellator on Friday and the UFC on Fox in Newark, New Jersey. The main event is Anthony Rumble Johnson against Ryan Bader. Bader has won 5 in a row. He is rolling as of late. In my opinion, wins this fight. You cannot deny him a shot at the title. I wanted to talk to his head coach, Aaron Simpson, over at Power MMA in Arizona about this fight and more. He now joins us on line number 1. Aaron, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on, Ariel.
Oh, it is a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us. Before we get into Ryan, I just wanted to ask you about a man you may know about, Cain Velasquez. You were a coach at ASU when he was there, right?
Yes.
What do you make of all of this?
Sir.
Did he put himself through the grinder back then, or maybe in his MMA career? I mean, I don't know if you heard the news last night, but injured again, out of the title fight.
Yep.
You have any take on this?
I don't. I'm not in communication with him like all the time anymore, so I don't know exactly. I know he trains hard. I mean, this guy, he was, and this is, I've always said this, he was one of the hardest workers that we've ever had at ASU, and that says a lot because he was a heavyweight. Normally, heavyweights like to, take their time and not move very often. And so, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that he was maybe overtrained or trained hard, and it was a freak, maybe a little tired and got caught in a freakish accident or whatever. I don't know anything. I don't know anything of it. But I just know Cain, and I know that something like this last fight where he was tired motivated him to make sure that never happens again. And man, it's just heartbreaking, And I love a guy like Stipe Miocic. He's got an opportunity on his hands now to go get a title, but you hate it at the expense of someone like Cain Velasquez, who is just one of the greatest guys out there, and just a great fighter and a great person.
When he was at ASU, was he injury prone?
Not so much. I mean, I can't say he ever really was. We always, he had maybe a low back issue here and there, but he never said much.
Right.
Even if he was injured, he was just quiet about it, and he would just go on about his work and show up and do everything asked of him. So I can't say that he really had a big injury, but when money's on the line and it's your livelihood and all that, you're probably pretty precautious, or some things he probably would have pushed through, but he's taken. I'm sure it's pretty bad because Cain has a high pain tolerance, so I'm sure it's pretty bad. Yeah,
and it's interesting you say back injury because that's what he suffered, but we don't know a whole lot about it. Let's move along. Let's talk about Ryan Bader. I'm wondering, as his coach and as his friend, initially, when you guys got word about this fight and you had to start preparing for it, did you have to motivate him? Because he thought that he was going to get a title shot after the Rashad win in Houston in October. And then, of course, John comes back, and that's the direction they're going in. Was it tough to have to say, okay, we need one more, we need to do this again, we need to prove them wrong again?
Not so much. I mean, it was definitely disappointing that he got overlooked twice, and that he's been disrespected twice. But that right there just puts more of a chip on his shoulder, and knowing Ryan and knowing how he goes about his daily life and what does motivate him. It didn't take any coaxing from us. I mean, he was once the deal was done and once we were going. I mean, we were good at fighting him. We were good at fighting Daniel back in the day. I mean, it didn't matter. Whatever got him to getting that title shot, he was game for. And so now it's just one more step, and hopefully it's one more step. I mean, that doesn't mean anything, Bader can go out and get this win, and we know how the business works. So all he can do is handle what he can handle, control what he can control. We love this fight with Anthony Johnson. I mean, this is a fight that we would have liked a long time ago, but it's now we're here. And people overlook Bader. The odds are stacked against him in everyone else's minds, but ours and in Bader's mind. We know Anthony Johnson. I've known the kid since junior college. I know I talked to his junior college coaches not too long ago, and we've got stories on Anthony. It was just one of those deals where we know that Anthony gets tired. We know he likes that. He's got that bully mentality, and he's a freak when he can be. Man, he is very dangerous, and that's evident. I mean, it was evident with Daniel Cormier, but Daniel outlasted him because he knew that he was just going to be tougher than him. He was going to get him. So that's the same mentality Bader has. Bader's much like Daniel Cormier, but to me a better striker, a better mixed martial artist all around. Daniel's just a freaking stud athlete and a champion. There's a reason why he made 2 Olympic teams is because of, who he is on his insides. And you'll see that in Ryan Bader as well.
So specifically, what about the matchup do you like? I mean, you talked about those things right there, but is there something technically that really makes you excited about this matchup?
Yeah. I mean, he's a heavy hitter and he throws wild, but technically Bader's a better striker than him.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a pure striker and pure footwork and movement and athleticism. Ryan Bader's better. I mean, I'll put that on anything. And that right there, let alone Bader's a better wrestler. People don't realize that. Bader's a better wrestler than Phil Davis in MMA. Didn't get it done in the NCAAs and college wrestling, but shit, that was years ago, you know. Phil Davis couldn't put his hands together to get his takedowns. Bader can do that if need be. Bader's stronger on the cage. Bader's stronger off his back. Bader's stronger on top. I mean, this fight is the Vegas. If Vegas were really saw what I saw every day, it'd be leaning towards Bader, and people would be, you know. But it is what it is. I'm really positive about this fight. Once again, Ryan Bader's focused, like Rashad, like OSP, like these ones where he believes in his mind. He's already made up in his mind that he's the champion and that he's just another roadblock for him to get through.
Yeah, he's a plus 275 underdog. You're obviously very confident. Have you put money on him?
I don't bet on my guys, but I'm telling people to do that. So how's that?
You know how this game goes. Do you feel like he would get more respect and more attention if he was finishing guys? This 5-fight winning streak, all decisions.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the name of this game. You got to finish guys, you know, and he's gone against super tough competitors. You know, I mean, it's not like he's going out there against cream puffs. I mean, he's going out there against tough dudes. So he hasn't finished them, but you know, it is what it is. Guys that get finished early or whatever, sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's a fluke. When you get in a fight with Ryan Bader and you lose, you know, you got the crap beat out of you. You walk out of there like Rashad did and going, man, I just got handled. I couldn't get anything going on Ryan. Ryan just beat me up. And so that's almost a little more demoralizing than a knockout or a submission. But, you know, he'll step up when it's time.
As his coach, do you feel like he needs the finish in order to get that title shot? Are you trying to push him for that, or is that a mistake?
I mean, no. You know, obviously, if it's there and it presents itself, and he lands a clean shot, or he can jump on his neck and submit him, then we'll finish him. I mean, there's no question in my mind that Bader's not capable of doing that, and it is, and he knows he is, and so he's patient. But we're getting a win. You know, we're getting a win one way or the other. He's getting his hand raised on the 30th, so that's a foregone conclusion in my mind.
I've watched a bunch of clips from you guys leading up to this fight, and it seems like something keeps coming up, and that's that you feel that Rumble Johnson is mentally weak. Like, you can break him. I've heard you say that. I've heard Ryan say that. Why do you think that is?
It's just evident in his career. It's evident in his college career. I go back, and his college coaches told me that when we were looking to recruit him. It's once that's in you, once you've quit and you've done it, it's in you. It's hard to get past that. It's hard to be someone who when the going gets tough and you're on your back or you're on your knees and you're starting to get tired, you can come back from that. And you can see in someone like Daniel Cormier where he has no quit in him. I mean, that guy was against his. He had his, you know, he was fighting up a hill there against Gustafsson, and he doesn't have quit in him, and you see that in Anthony Johnson, and that's going to be exploited on the 30th, you know. And I love Anthony Johnson. I do. I think he's a good guy, and I think he's a great athlete. You know, I think was a stud junior college wrestler. But that's about it, man. When it gets into the fight game, and we take him into deep waters, we'll see how he responds, and maybe he'll be something different, but he hasn't shown that in the past.
So at ASU, you guys actually consider recruiting Anthony Johnson?
Yeah. We all the JUCO guys are on the in your eye, but we had CB Dalloway. CB smashed him in junior college. CB pinned him. He wasn't. So you look at all the JUCO guys and see how they're doing, but we had kind of. You kind of go over and you're like, this guy, and then you start talking, and you're like, okay, we take him off our list of guys to recruit.
You know, there's some whispers, and you never know what's true and what's not, but it always feels like there's this talk of the demise of the Blackzilians, and that they go through these coaches, and there's always instability. Do you feel like that's something in your favor? Are you banking on the fact that he's, you know, training with an unstable camp?
No, absolutely not. I mean, he's a professional. He's got his guys around him. He's got Rashad Evans around him. He's got Henry Hoof. And he's got good guys there. Jones, he's got Greg Jones down there, who I really respect and think he just was a stud wrestler and is a great coach. So I think they'll have him ready. I think they'll get him as ready as they can. It's up to Anthony, It's up to Anthony to show up to practice. It's up to Anthony to push himself through his workouts. And if he hasn't been doing that, it's going to be a long night for him. If he has been doing that, it's going to be a phenomenal fight.
So how about you?
But
no, you're not banking on that.
I don't know what's going on with Blackzilians, and I don't even read into that. I mean, I could care less. I know that we've got one guy. We don't have a whole team or anything. So Anthony will be ready.
So your last fight, March of 2013, you're retired, right? You don't think about fighting anymore?
I think about it every time I walk. I make the walk into the cage.
Yeah.
Or to the cage, but I get in there with the guys, and I still, I'm still training, but it's not for me, which is kind of I feel like I'm a better coach than I was an athlete, because you have to be selfish as an athlete, and I don't know that there were times when I was, but I really like giving my all to my guys and making sure they're ready to win.
Is it hard though? Is it hard to be on this big stage? You're fighting the main event on Fox, all that stuff, and you maybe deep down think you could still do it, but you're not doing it. Is this a tough thing for you to deal with?
It was at first, it was, especially as far as the sports progressed and some of the things. And I see guys in there at middleweight and welterweight that I still feel like I could scrap with, and I mean, there's probably 60-year-old men out there that feel that way though, feel like I could beat these young guys. But I mean, I'm in here. I wrestled with Logan Storley the other day and kind of got the crap beat out of me. But and here this kid's a 4-time All-American in Minnesota, and had he redshirted, he'd be number 1 in the country in Minnesota this year for his senior year. But I was still able to scrap with him. Now I wasn't able to get anything off, and I'd have to really focus back on myself to get going with those guys again if I did. But yeah, man, I miss it. It's once you're an athlete and you've competed for a long time, it's you feel bad for any of those guys, those quarterbacks and all those guys that hang it up and then wish they still go. Look at Brett Favre. That guy hung on for as long as he could.
Well, look at Peyton Manning, though. Here he is about to play in the Super Bowl again. Did you know, was there a moment where you knew that, okay, it's time for me to hang him up? Do you recall that moment?
Well, yeah. After my World Series fight, and here I'm fighting, and I fought my whole career in the UFC, and then I'm like, that ended on a sour note. I still feel like, I wasn't ready to hang it up there, but I just lost motivation to train when I had to go fight in a league that wasn't the UFC, and that hurt. That was hard to do, and that probably really sealed it for me, or somewhat sealed it for me. But it's when you're older and you have kids and a family to look after. It's hard to go and chase those dreams, especially when you've got up and comers that are in your gym that you need to see them, chase their dreams now.
Did you always know that you would be a better coach than fighter, or that you would enjoy coaching? I know you've coached in the past prior to your MMA career, but sometimes you stumble upon these things. Sometimes you always want to be a coach. What was your journey like as coach?
That's exactly. When I was coaching at ASU, I thought, man, this is. Then I was still training and coaching and trying to make the Olympic team and stuff, but I love coaching. I love getting next to the guys and helping get the most out of them and developing those relationships and doing the extra, teaching them how to go above and beyond just what they do in practice, how to push themselves in practice, and how to back off when they need to back off, and having them have that trust in me, so I see what's going on, and when they step in that cage or on the mat, they're fully prepared. And yeah, so answer your question, I do feel like I would have been a better coach, and I am a better coach.
Are you happy with where things are at the gym these days? Recently, you gained 2 new fighters, I believe. As far as big name, Miles Jury and Michael Chandler. Anyone else come over? Am I missing someone?
Yeah, Johnny Case. Justin Lawrence.
Yes.
We got some guys. We got that Elvis Mutapchik. We've got Jordan Young, who's an up-and-comer. Some other guys that are up-and-comers that you haven't really heard of. But, yeah, I mean, I looked on the mats the other day. We had 26 guys scrapping, whereas at one point it was like me and Bader and Jesse Forbes and CB, and Steve Steinbeiss. So coaching ourselves. So now we have an awesome system where guys are coming in. We've got a great strength and conditioning coach that we all communicate with. We're all under one roof. A couple great striking coaches I communicate with. A jiu-jitsu coach that we all communicate with. So these guys come here and they know what the plan is. You know, they buy in, and I haven't heard a complaint.
How did that
and
Go ahead, sorry.
Darian Caldwell's back now too. You know, he's fighting Joe Warren. So
yep.
We got Darian back with us, so it's going to be a good one.
Big prospect in Bellator. How did that happen with the big names coming over? Did you guys recruit them? Like how does that when you get this exodus?
No, that never happened. Michael Chandler's he's represented by Dave Martin, who's our owner and manager, and Michael's like, I'm looking to branch out and get another place. And Mike and I have known each other for a long time, and Dave was like, well, why don't you come to our gym? And so he started talking to Miles and those guys because they wanted to leave too, Johnny and Miles and Justin, and so that's kind of so. Then they got talked to their manager and Ryan Haas out in Iowa, and so Haas reached out to me and we made it work. You know, we never recruit out of another gym. I don't agree with that. I feel like if someone wants to up and leave, that's fine. And we got Jordan Johnson with us, who wrestled heavyweight at Iowa. He's 3-0, 205-pounder now. Trained at the lab, then went to Alliance and was a stud there. Was in Gustafson's corner but buddies with Phil, and now he's with us. You know, these guys want to come where, especially wrestlers, where they're going to get trained like wrestlers, go through the wrestling practices that I'm able to put them through, which isn't like a boxing practice. It's not like I've been there, I've done it, I've been in the cage, I know what we need to do, and I don't have an ego, so I can communicate with our striking coach and everybody. We can make a plan happen to where, you still go into some of these other gyms that they're boxing-dominated gym, and this is how boxers train. But MMA trainers, fighters don't train like that. We have more to do in a day than just box. So I think they like that. I think that we're kind of a hidden gem still. And we're just really scratching the surface. We still got, we're still making mistakes. Miles Drury went out and made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
He made a mistake, but we're getting better. It's just a matter of time, I feel.
Okay, so how do you foresee it going down on Saturday? What's the official Aaron Simpson prediction?
I feel like we're going to wear on him. We're going to put him on the cage. We're going to take him down. We're going to land big strikes. If we don't knock him out early, he's going down. In the third or fourth round. I don't see it going the distance. I think Ryan will finish it earlier than that. I really feel that way. I think 25 minutes is just too long for Anthony Johnson to go. You look at any of his fights, even towards the end when he wins these fights, he starts getting a little sloppier and a little more tired, even the 3-rounders. Andrei Arlovsky, in general, he starts trying to dive in on takedowns and go that route. So, but it's a fight. Anything can happen. I just feel real confident in Ryan. I feel real confident in Ryan's footwork and his striking, his ability to close the distance and get in on takedowns and defend takedowns. He's just the best he's been.
Looking forward to it. Appreciate the time, Aaron. Best of luck to you guys. And by the way, I know you guys are very spoiled over there in Arizona. I don't know if you heard, epic snowstorm over the weekend here. So I hope you brought some snowshoes, some snow pants. It is cold, slushy. It's not a good time over here. Yeah,
it's 80 degrees here and sunny, and I'm absolutely sick of it. I'm just so tired of it. So I'm bringing my sled. I've got a sled I'm bringing out.
Good.
Some snowshoes. I kind of want to go snowshoeing.
Yep.
Get some excitement out there in Jersey.
Yep. You will definitely need all of that. Safe travels over. Good luck to you guys. Appreciate the time.
Thank you. We'll see you. Thanks.
All right. There he is, Aaron Simpson, head coach over at Power MMA. Big fight for them this Saturday on Fox. Ryan Bader against Anthony Rumble Johnson. Winner could very well be next in line for the light heavyweight title shot.